Hello and welcome to News Centre. I'm Parikshit Luthra. The big national story today, communal tensions high in Haryana after clashes broke out between communities in New district on Monday. Now this was during a religious procession. 6 people have lost their lives so far. The flare-up reached Gurgaon as well. Select shops were vandalized and set on fire by a mob in Badshahpur. The Supreme Court refused to restrict VHP and Bajrang Dal protest rallies scheduled in Delhi NCR in the aftermath of the new violence. The court, however, directed administrations to ensure that there is no hate speech against a particular community or acts of violence. My colleagues Shivani Bazaz and Abhimanyu Sharma report from Badshahpur, Sona, where communal tensions were high over the last 2 days.
We are standing in Gurugram's Badshahpur area where violence broke out yesterday, 2 days after violence broke out in Haryana's New. And I'm standing here in front of the 2 shops that were totally set ablaze by a mob yesterday. As you can see, the entire 2 shops have been gutted and turned to ashes. Nearly 14 shops were vandalized in the main market of Badshahpur yesterday. And the locals here say that a mob of more than 100 men targeted and vandalized shops in the area and set many of the shops ablaze. The mobs targeted shops mostly selling biryani and chicken is what we are getting to understand from the locals here. And in the nearby sector of Sector 57 of Gurugram, there was also an attack on a mosque recently where one person has lost his life. Late last night, there was also a fire that broke out in a cycle shop in Sector 70, but the police has not given any information about how the fire broke out, but they've just said that the fire was under control. The government has imposed 144 of CRPC to deal with the violence here, and educational institutions remained shut yesterday.
20 कंपनीज पैरामिलिट्री की हमने बुलाई हैं, जिसमें से 14 कंपनीज नू जिले में, 3 कंपनीज पलवल में, 2 गुरुग्राम में और 1 फरीदाबाद में। 4 कंपनीज की डिमांड आज हमने और की है बाहर के स्थानों के लिए। अभी तक 116 लोगों को अरेस्ट किया गया है और 90 इसके अतिरिक्त और डिटेन किए गए हैं। पूछताछ करने के बाद उनके खिलाफ भी कार्रवाई जो बनेगी वो सब की जाएगी।
जो आयोजक थे कल की यात्रा के, उनने भीड़ एस्टिमेशन का प्रॉपर ब्यौरा डिस्ट्रिक्ट प्रशासन को नहीं दिया। कहीं न कहीं उसकी कमी के कारण ये दुर्घटना कल हुई। हमारे प्रदेश में आज तक के इतिहास में ऐसी घटना नहीं हुई। जिन लोगों ने इस घटना को आगे उकसाकर बढ़ने का काम किया, उनके खिलाफ सख्त से सख्त कार्रवाई।
There were 3 incidents yesterday. Those were reported to us. FIRs have been registered in 3 incidences, and we are trying to identify the miscreants on the basis of available evidences, and after identification they will be arrested soon. All 3 incidences, they were reported to be of arson cases, so we have registered the FIR under relevant sections of the Indian Penal Code.
Most of the shops in this Badshahpur village and the market are shut today. Locals are in fear after they witnessed multiple cases of arson in front of their eyes. We spoke to multiple people here, including shop owners and labourers, who told us how a mob of more than 100 men marched towards them and vandalized multiple shops. The fear is so much that no one wants to come on camera fearing an attack on them. We spoke to young men who work as labourers and as carpenters here, and you can see some of them are sitting over there. And they said that most of them have been asked by the landlords to vacate their houses and move back to their villages for some time, fearing violence. We spoke to 4 such men who said that they couldn't sleep through the night after they witnessed the targeted arson yesterday. They said that many other labourers who were working with them had booked taxis and cabs on exorbitant rates of 8,000 to 10,000 rupees in the morning to flee back to their villages in Uttar Pradesh.
We are currently in Sona, and behind me is the debris of what has transpired in the past couple of days. Several kiosks, shops and vehicles have been torched in Sona as well as New. This is the debris of several kiosks and shops which have been torched due to arson in the past couple of days. There were reports of violence earlier too. As of now, security forces have been deployed not just from the Haryana police but also from the central forces. The government is taking all possible measures to ensure peace and calm. As of now, Section 144 has been imposed in several parts of Haryana. There is an uneasy calm which is persisting in several parts, even as the local administration and the police is conducting meetings with communities to ensure peace and calm. Internet connectivity has also been shut, and people have been advised to stay away from rumors and WhatsApp forwards. As of now, the situation continues to remain tense, and the government as well as the local police is keeping a close eye on the situation.
All right, those were ground reports from our colleagues Abhimanyu and Shivani. Let's go across to former Punjab DGP Shashi Kant. He joins us on the program. We're also joined by former IPS officer Yashovardhan Azad and JN Mangla, president of the Gurgaon Industrial Association, with us. Mr. Shashi Kant, if I can begin with you. There were indications that something like this could break out. There could be communal tension. Before Monday's procession took place in New area, for at least 2 days, there were messages circulating on social media urging people to come to this Shobha Yatra. Monu Manesar, who seems to be a key figure in this entire communal tension crisis, was also putting videos on his Instagram handle saying that I'm going to be coming here, join this rally in big numbers. Do you think somewhere there was a failure on the part of the administration to check this in time, act on these reports, act on these messages which are circulating from both communities on social media?
Well, talking of indications, let me make it very clear that the indications were there right from February, when these two persons, I think their names were Nasir and Junaid, they were killed by some persons. I don't know who they were because their names haven't come out still. Since then, tension has been brewing up. This was there, and later on, for last 2 weeks, a kind of war was going on social media from both sides. Everybody claiming that they were going to do this thing and that thing, calling upon their supporters and friends to come up in large numbers. I fail to understand why the local authorities fail to take cognizance of this thing. This thing is one point. And here we have got our friend Yasho also. He can vouch for it that central agencies like IB and all the agencies, they also give this kind of communication, not verbal, but in writing. And it's never been there that this kind of communications are never sent. In this case also, I presume, I'm sure that this kind of communications, alerts were sent. I don't know at what level, at whose behest, and why these were not taken cognizance thereof. And that's why I say this situation had come up. And second, last point, we have a certain SOPs, standard operating procedures. Some are written, some are not written. Both are there. And in this case, they were not followed at all. Whenever there's police anticipates that there's going to be some kind of trouble, there's always a detour. They go for a detour or they put an extra force there. In this case, I don't think that that was done at all. Those indications are there. It is writing on the wall, but the authorities that might be failed to take cognizance thereof. Sad. Thank you.
Right. So you're saying there were clear lapses on the part of the police and the state administration. Mr. Azad, if I can come to you, the Chief Minister has said there is a big conspiracy behind this. What kind of a planning would this have needed? This couldn't have been planned over just 2 days. What do you think?
You see, before the conspiracy angle, let me say that Shashi has pretty well described the situation building up to this kind of a conflagration. When the CM talks about conspiracy, I don't think there could be such a huge conspiracy unless he's aware of it. I won't know. But I would certainly say that in a conflagration of this kind, there are many unwanted elements who get in. You understand that a cyber crime police station was attacked. There are people in Nu who are happily engaged in the crime of online frauds. In fact, the online fraud center has shifted from Jharkhand to this particular place. But I want to get back to what Shashi said about the glaring gaps in the administrative actions. If the situation was building up so seriously before the event, then Monu Manesar, who even threatened to join the procession, was not arrested. He has not been arrested for a long time. And he's a wanted murderer in Rajasthan case. Now, if there was a counter reaction from the other community, then it was incumbent upon the district administration to call both the sides and have a kind of a peace council meeting and then allow the procession. But if you allow the procession, there are certain criteria that you cannot carry weapons, you will not raise provocative slogans, you will not adopt threatening postures, and in the end, is the decisiveness of the situation right in the end when the situation is building up. If you are tough in a communal situation, nip it in the bud, even if you have to fire, injuring 2 or 3, it is better than a continuing kind of a violence and a cyclical violence of this kind. So I think, yes, there were glaring gaps in the administration, and it's sad to see 100 vehicles burnt and so much of public property destroyed.
Yes, you are right, because according to reports, when that yatra took place on Monday, there were people who were armed there as well. Let me also go across to J.N. Mangla, president of the Gurgaon Industrial Association, just to understand the impact, because Gurgaon, Manesar, these are one of the key industrial and business belts of the country. Mr. Mangla, I'd like to ask you, what has been the impact on local businesses? We are also getting reports of laborers, contract laborers, daily wage laborers wanting to go back to their villages. What is the report that you can give us?
Certainly. ये घटना बड़ी शर्मनाक है। गुड़गांव जिला हरियाणा प्रदेश का एक औद्योगिक क्षेत्र है और इसके साथ लगता हुआ जो मेवात क्षेत्र है, जैसा कि आप सभी जानते हैं, आने वाले समय में सरकार का जो रुख है वो यही है कि मेवात को डेवलप किया जाए। और अभी IMT मानेसर का विकास हुआ है। यहाँ पर एक ATL कंपनी जैपनीज, जो कि 180 एकड़ में जमीन में एक कंपनी एस्टेब्लिश हो रही है, 550 करोड़ रुपए का इन्वेस्टमेंट है। अगर इस प्रकार की घटना घटती रही तो इंडस्ट्री पे, वर्कर पे, कॉन्ट्रैक्ट लेबर पे इसका बहुत ज्यादा प्रभाव पड़ेगा। और जिस तरीके से हम देख रहे हैं कि जो वर्कर्स हैं या उद्योगपति हैं, वो भी 3-4 दिन से डरे हुए हैं और बहुत से लोग तो अपने घरों में बैठे हैं। तो मैं समझता हूं कि जो घटना घटी है, ये ऐसी घटना नहीं घटनी चाहिए थी। सरकार को इस विषय में पता था कि ये यात्रा जा रही है, तो इस विषय में उनको थोड़ा सा ये सावधानी बरतनी चाहिए थी। लेकिन मैं समझता हूं कि अगर हरियाणा प्रदेश में इस तरीके से इंडस्ट्रियलाइजेशन का ये क्षेत्र है और इकोनॉमिक दृष्टि से हम देखें तो सारा जितना भी रेवेन्यू है वो इसी क्षेत्र से आता है। अगर हम यहाँ पे शांति बनाए नहीं रखेंगे, पीस नहीं रखेंगे और अच्छा माहौल नहीं बनाएंगे, तो मैं समझता हूं कि इससे ज्यादा नुकसान प्रदेश को भी और जनता को भी और उद्योगों को इससे ज्यादा नहीं हो सकता। और मैं उम्मीद करता हूं कि आने वाले समय में भी, अभी भी स्थिति कंट्रोल में नहीं है, इसको कंट्रोल किया जाए जल्द से जल्द। हमारी अपील है सरकार से भी कि ये आगे ना बढ़े और जो भी इसका दोषी है उन दोषियों को सजा मिलनी चाहिए, उनको पकड़ा जाना चाहिए और इस प्रकार का माहौल नहीं बनना चाहिए जिससे हमारे औद्योगिक क्षेत्र प्रभावित हो, उद्योग प्रभावित हो। हमारे वर्कर, अभी भी मुझे जानकारी मिली है, कुछ वर्कर वहाँ इंडस्ट्रीज में नहीं जा रहे हैं और अपने घर पर जाने को तैयार बैठे हैं। तो ये जो माहौल अगर बनता है तो हमारी इंडस्ट्री पर बहुत ज्यादा इसका इफेक्ट पड़ता है। और सरकार से मैं बेनती करना चाहता हूं कि तुरंत कार्रवाई होनी चाहिए और दोषियों को इसमें जल्द से जल्द पकड़ा जाना चाहिए।
Mr. Mangla, please continue being with us. You're giving us some very important details how this impacts the image of the state of Haryana, of Gurgaon, Manesar, Mewat as industrial belts as well. हम आपके पास फिर आएंगे एक सवाल के लिए, please हमारे साथ बने रहिए. I'd like to go back to Mr. Shashi Kant. Mr. Shashi Kant, what is the danger of this kind of communal tension spilling over to nearby states, nearby cities of Haryana, of Gurgaon, Manesar, Nu?
Yeah, first I'll endorse the viewpoint expressed by Mr. Mangla. Yes, that's going to have a disastrous effect on the economy and these foreign companies which have been there, which are there, or which want to come in there. It's disastrous, going to be absolutely disastrous. And talking about the spillover reaction that can be there, well, you have seen that there is some tension in Gurgaon. There is some tension. Noida is on alert. Delhi is on alert. Certain nearby areas also on alert. Unfortunately, what happens that in this kind of cases, there's the verbal communication, and second is kind of fear psychosis that comes up and prevails. that people start doing all sorts of things. Maybe, I don't know, just I'm talking my guesswork, like whatever I've learned from my previous experiences. When this kind of episode comes up, a situation comes up, people start holding some arms, ammunition. So I think that Haryana government, as also the Noida government, Delhi government, all the nearby areas, they have to be extremely vigilant to ensure that this kind of situation doesn't develop where people start holding up stones or whatever it is. All the state governments have to be very, very careful. They have to be very, very extra vigilant. And more so, I'll say that another sad thing which comes up, that in this case also, youth always take particular active part in this kind of thing. Youth energy that can just get into any direction. So I think it's about time the peace committees and certain youth organizations, NGOs, they also come in and play the requisite role. Thank you.
Okay, we're going to take a short break, but we'll request all our guests, Mr. Shashi Kant, Mr. Azad and Mr. Mangla, to stay with us. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. We'll continue discussing the situation on ground in Haryana. Welcome back. You are watching our special discussion on the situation in Haryana. Communal violence in Nuh spreading to Haryana, spreading to Gurgaon, Sona and nearby places of Nuh. Let me go across to our guests once again. Mr. Shashi Kant, former DGP of Punjab, Mr. Yashovardhan Azad, former IPS officer, and Jane Mangla, president of the Gurgaon Industrial Association. Mr. Mangla, if I were to ask you, आप मुझे बता पाएंगे कि कोई ऐसी इंडस्ट्रीज या सेक्टर है जो ज़्यादा इम्पैक्टेड है, जिन्होंने अपनी फैक्ट्रीज बंद की हों या जहां के वर्कर्स ज़्यादा चले गए हों पिछले 2 दिन में?
देखिए, मैं थोड़ा सा आपको बैकग्राउंड में जाना चाहूँगा कि मेवात हरियाणा का सबसे पिछड़ा क्षेत्र रहा है और यहाँ पर कोई भी इन्वेस्टर आने को तैयार नहीं होता था। रोज का में बहुत बड़ा औद्योगिक क्षेत्र है जो कि बहुत पुराना है, वहां पर भी इंडस्ट्री सब बंद पड़ी हुई थी। लेकिन सरकारों ने आकर ये प्रयास किया कि किसी तरीके से इस क्षेत्र का हम विकास करें, और आईएमटी सोहना के नाम से वहां पे उस क्षेत्र का गठन किया। और जिस तरीके से यहाँ पे ई ऑक्शन किया गया, काफी निवेशकों ने इसमें हिस्सा लिया और बहुत अच्छे सरकार को उसके रेट भी मिले। उसका सबसे बड़ा कारण यही था कि गुड़गांव नजदीक, या एयरपोर्ट अपना दिल्ली का है, उसके बहुत ज्यादा नजदीक है। लेकिन माहौल का अच्छा होना बहुत जरूरी है, और इस निवेशकों ने यहाँ पे अपनी दिलचस्पी भी दिखाई। और बड़ी बड़ी इंडस्ट्री, जैसा कि मैंने पहले भी कहा, बैटरी बनाने की एक बहुत बड़ी इंडस्ट्री 550 करोड़ की जो अंडर कंस्ट्रक्शन है, 60% उसका कार्य हो भी चुका है। ऐसी इंडस्ट्री, अगर इस प्रकार की घटनाएं घटेंगी तो मैं समझता हूं कि हरियाणा प्रदेश के जो उद्योग हैं उस पर इसका निश्चित तौर पर प्रभाव पड़ेगा। और हम सब ये चाहते हैं कि हरियाणा प्रदेश की तरक्की होनी चाहिए, और उद्योग एक ऐसी चीज है कि जिसकी वजह से प्रदेश का विकास होता है। तो मैं आपके माध्यम से जरूर कहना चाहता हूं कि इस प्रकार की जो घटनाएं हैं वो सरकार को देखनी चाहिए, कैसे इसको रोका जाए, आने वाले समय में उसकी शांति बनाई रखनी चाहिए। और जहां तक आपने ये सवाल किया कि भाई ऐसी अभी कोई सुनने में आया कोई तेल कंपनी है या तेल फैक्ट्री है, उस पर भी वहां पे आग लगा दी गई, तो ये एक मैसेज जो जाता है वो इंडस्ट्री को बड़ा गलत जाता है, वहां के वर्कर्स को बड़ा गलत जाता है, उद्योगपतियों को बड़ा गलत जाता है। हम चाहते हैं कि हरियाणा प्रदेश का विकास हो, हरियाणा प्रदेश में तरक्की के औद्योगिकरण हो, और वो तभी संभव है जब हर प्रकार से शांति मिले, हर प्रकार से लोगों को सुविधाएं मिले, लाइन ऑर्डर उसका ठीक रहे, और किसी प्रकार से वहां इस प्रकार की घटनाएं नहीं घटनी चाहिए। ऐसा मैं अपील करना चाहता हूं, लोगों के से शांति बनाए रखें।
I'll also go across now to Mr. Azad. Mr. Azad, as a former police officer, as a former senior police officer, what do you think is the blueprint for a situation like this in order to bring it under control, bring it to peace, have a certain level of normalcy, and till when will there be underlying tensions in these areas?
You see, first of all, I would like also to appeal to the political leaders, and that is the most important thing which people are scared of doing. Unless the political leaders rein in their lumpen elements, it is very, very difficult, because they run amok in a situation like this. They browbeat the district administrations and try to run their own grid. Secondly, I would appeal to the district administration that they must realize that peace is prerequisite to progress, and therefore they must act very, very tough in a communal situation. In fact, the IAS and IPS are made only to tackle tough situations, not like to do pussyfooting and in the area. Third, I would say now that this event has already happened and sent a scare, my heart goes out to the migrants of my state, UP, or to Bihar and UP. Every time they suffer inordinately. And therefore, this must always be also kept in mind. And fourth, I would say the district administration now should do two things. One, immediately catch all these scoundrels who have created all this. May have a peace council, like Shashi Kant said just now, and try to bring back peace and show everyone in an unbiased manner that they are there for peace and will not allow things like this to fester, because reaction and counter reactions will keep coming in. Wherever community is strong, they will take action against the weaker community, and so on the cycle will build up. So with these companies, after imposing 144, they should be tough and see to it that a situation like this does not arise again.
Right. Mr. Shashi Kant, as far as social media is concerned, how important will it be to monitor and make sure there is nothing on social media which spreads rumors, panic among public, and also worsens the situations further?
Yeah, supporting, going ahead, whatever Mr. Yashovardhan Azad said. Look, this is the question of the credibility of the state government also now. I'm told that this kind of an incident of this magnitude has happened for the first time. And if the state government is not able to control it immediately by being extremely strict and trying to bring in these elements to the box, is going to be very serious. And talking about the social media, it's very important. Like I said, this social media warfare, I'm going to call it warfare. A regular warfare was going on social media for almost 2 weeks. Why people, almost everybody is on social media. I'm on social media. I'm sure all the participants and my friends, everybody is social media, you too are on social media. Somebody in power, somebody in position at least should have taken notice thereof. And they said that there was a center out there, which was computer center or whatever. I'm surprised if they have got computers, there are laptops and everything. How come they fail to do it? And this kind of forgeries, which have been happening from there, from the particular area, they are also conducted on through social media to a very extent. Why the administration, police, and everybody, I'm not talking of anybody person, that I'm taking a generic word, they call it as governance, the powers that be, why they fail to take notice thereof. And again, I'll go back to whatever I had said earlier. Why and how come they fail to take notice of all these alerts, all these things which are going on, alerts which might have been given, what might certainly would have given to the government. I'm really surprised. I'm at loss of words. I don't know how to react to it. But I only hope, like Yashovardhan said, I hope that the government at last wakes up and tries to bring the situation into control. Thank you.
All right, we've run out of time, but Mr. Shashi Kant, Mr. Azad and Mr. Mangla, thank you so much for joining us here on News Center. All of you appealing to the political class, to the state administration, to work hard to bring the situation under control and bring peace and normalcy in the area. With that, it's a wrap on this edition of News Center. More news and updates when we return.